Dave call some of the best Florida independent wrestling. Dave, how's it going today?
It's going, baby. It's going. Shout out to the sponsors.
Yeah, and shout out to everybody that didn't give us lists for Abdullah the Butcher. So we're gonna be figuring out something different for the show.
Yep.
Next week is gonna be our last 5-3-1 for a little bit. And if you want to know who it is, you got to stay tuned into the end of the episode. But we got some big things coming up. Next month is usually the Hip Hop for the Homeless concerts. Talking to some sponsors to help us, fill out the wrestling crates or the wrestling baskets that we raffled off last year. What else we got going on, Dave? We got our 31 horror movies in 31 days.
Still doing it, baby. I thought you were going to burn out, but you're just hanging in there, working fast.
Horror Facts dropped off a little bit, but AJ's in the Dominican Republic avoiding the feds, and we can't keep up everything. So
I asked him for a list today. Even he I don't know. He was looked at me and said, "You filthy rat! I ain't doing shit for you."
I wonder if his wife. I wonder if she knows he's in the
Speaking of rats,
Republican. I like that I called it the Dominican Republican. That's how bad a week this is. But God, there's Rampage tonight at the Mohegan Sun Casino.
We'll be there live. Say hi to him. You know the Working Fans podcast.
We got friend of the show, Scott, is going to be in New York for New Japan Pro Wrestling.
Long time, close, personal friend, Scott.
GCW on Fight. There's so much wrestling. What have you been keeping up with lately this week?
Oh, not a lot, man. I mean, right now, mostly AEW and WWE, just kind of doing the major stuff. I did listen to Hammerstone, Alex Hammerstone, on a Talk is Jericho podcast.
Yeah,
and talking about Fightland coming up, and he's got a match with the judge there. I'm blanking out on his name. Joku.
The judge is basically his nickname.
Yeah. Both undefeated. I believe the judge is undefeated. I think it's singles competition, so it should be a fun match. It's one of those things MLW does well. They build up like two particular talents, keep them kind of unpinned, and usually they're like these good size looking guys too, to look like throwback old superstar wrestlers, and they build up a big show like this once in a while, which I always thought.
Now, if I'm not mistaken, is the judge in with that Beaumont Fight Club?
They were pursuing him. I don't remember where that went. I didn't think he did. I thought he was with Calvin Tankman still.
And I believe the judge, if I'm not mistaken, trains with Jade Cargill.
They definitely do. Yes. I've seen videos on social media and stuff like that. He was a former NFL player too, I believe.
Yes, I'm looking up his name right now. It looks like EJ Nduka.
Yep, that sounds right. Yeah.
But yeah, MLW always builds up their events well. And it's been nice that they've been taking these little hiatuses every now and then to kind of keep themselves fresh.
And Davey Richards is going to be on NWA Hard Times. I think he's defending the national championship against Kobe Carino.
Yeah, it's good to see there's a lot of cross promotion and cross work over there.
You know what? Since we're just shooting the shit, talking about like cross promotion, like the whole thing with Carl Anderson not being allowed to make the booking for that New Japan show to defend the belt against Galeo, and at the he's going to Saudi Arabia show. What are your thoughts on that? Just kind of curious.
It makes sense. It seems like more of a move that would have happened when Vince was there.
Yeah.
But as far as I understood, I think they were wrestling in New Japan without contracts.
They were, yeah.
And sometimes when you take that double booking, no matter who was first, sometimes the bigger or the more official is the one that's going to take over.
Exactly.
It's kind of disappointing to see, because when you look at like New Japan versus WWE, you would think New Japan is where they'd want to be. It's where Carl Anderson came up in the system. But getting a second run at WWE, it's a weird thing. I'm not particularly big on it, but it's understandable.
I think creatively there's creative and cash, right? And I think that Vince just mishandled their creative so bad that they realized they wouldn't be money players anymore, and they got let go obviously anyway. But I think they would have been like, "Oh, we're not going back there." But I think with Hunter in charge, okay, now we got kind of a chance. We can work with AJ Styles again, and they're going to pay us well. Let's give it a shot. AEW looks a little oversaturated right now. Let's give this a shot. And I agree. Yeah, it's two things. One, it's a little petty by WWE, but that's par for the course. But also, like you kind of said too, like ultimately, like New Japan, while you putting a title on a guy that doesn't have a contract, like you kind of know this is a risk. You're going to be running.
I thought it was weird even without the contract situation because Carl Anderson's good, but singles title, I don't see it, especially when he's so big in a tag team.
Right. Yeah. I mean, and I don't know where they're going to end up in WWE. I think right now they're in a solid spot with this thing with AJ Styles, but like, I was just like posted. You could tell like they're not overly like excited about the Good Brothers. Now, they weren't negative. It's like they just don't see him as anything particularly special. And I do feel like when they first left WWE, they were hot for a while. Yeah. And I just don't think that somewhere that got lost a little bit.
It did, and I mean they're coming into a good program. Like
I think so too.
Them versus Judgment Day. I'm like, all right, this is almost perfect timing. They've been in less than a month. They've got 2 weeks away from a big event. It's a big match. It gives Judgment Day something a little different to do. Mm-hmm. They've still got the Mysterio feud, but this is
an Edge,
arguably a more interesting match for Saudi Arabia.
Yeah, an Edge, and I feel like Judgment Day was an act that was really. That's one thing I'll say Triple H has done good. Like that was an act that I thought was stale and dead on arrival, and now they're one of the hotter things. Obviously, they're not like the Bloodline, but they're one of the hotter things in the company right now. You have several different feuds, and Dominic Mysterio is hated as a heel.
Yeah. And I meant to bring this up at the beginning of the show, but if everybody watching likes what we got going on here, like, rate, review, subscribe wherever you can. So many of our viewers are unsubscribed that if you find something interesting in a show, just give it a subscribe. We'll come up with something, hopefully the next time. Unless AJ's here, then you're going to get worked, brother.
Show some love.
Well, this week, the main reason we're here, and we'll get it out of the way fairly early because it's going to be over quick, is 5-3-1 on Abdullah the Butcher Dream Match.
Love that picture.
Oh, yeah. And I got a variety of lists. How many serious lists did you get?
All right. Serious list. Counting mine. 5.
All right. Well, I'm going to give you James Castillo from the Mothership Facebook group because this is one of 2 not serious lists I got.
Oh, 6 counting mine. Serious. Okay. But go ahead.
I got Bill Cosby, Harvey Weinstein, the Pizza Wrestler, Kenny Omega, Kevin Dunn.
All right. We'll keep tabs on these guys. Hey, I'll give you Evan Ginsburg, who gave me a similar list. He's got Stephanie McMahon, Vince, Michael Cole, Nick Killer Khan, the WWE corporate hatchet man, and Senator Ted Cruz. Go get him, Abby.
George Chris Turner from the Mothership Facebook group has Bob Orton Jr.,
Ooh,
Charlie Sheen in a double blood match, Superstar Billy Graham, Tommy Lee from Motley Crue, and Magic Johnson.
Okay, there was a theme going there. You can Google that, folks.
And my last joke list is Jesse from New Hampshire. Very surprised. He said Waffle House, Cracker Barrel, Ponderosa Steakhouse, Hometown Buffet, and Nordic Lodge.
Actually,
Abby at Nordic Lodge would be something to see.
I do have to say, shoot, best friend Scott. I actually did have a conversation with, but he says I might get some heat for this some circles, but I always thought Abby was trash in the ring. The best matches he had because the other person he was in with. I never want to even fantasy book anything with him. And I just basically said, yeah, that's fair. He didn't have a big moveset. Was kind of curious about the responses we get. This was early on in the week. And Scott just said, all right, here's my list. Abdullah versus shoot electric chair. So, so Scott, you're apparently not alone, just so you know when you listen to this. A few other people share your responses on that.
I couldn't think of many dream matches. If I had to say somebody,
okay,
maybe Nick Gage.
So,
maybe Moxley. They wouldn't be good matches, but those would be brawling, bleeding matches.
So, when I thought of this list, I originally thought of it for the Mothership Facebook group, who gives us a lot of responses. And I thought old school of it. And it was funny because I sat down right before we did the show to think of Abdullah dream matches, because I usually do that like right before the show starts to see it. And I'm like, yeah. I'm like, oh, yeah. I don't give a fuck about this guy.
I mean, Poncho Ortega has Marco's son, Orange Cassidy, Chuck Taylor, Hangman Page, and the chick that used to do that Freddie Mercury shit. That's
so
it.
He wants to see people get busted open there. Yeah.
Yeah. Now I've got 3 actual lists. God bless Pat Oates.
Yeah. What a trooper. I got some real lists too, but go ahead.
Pat Oates has Darby Allin, Fit Finlay, John Moxley, Nick Gage, Seth Rollins.
Interesting. I'm going to actually give you my list then, because I wanted to keep mine unique and different. And
I think that's the theme of today's list.
Yes, but I was also serious. I got Samoa Joe. Okay. I got Jacob Fatu.
Yep.
AJ Styles.
Okay.
William Regal. Yeah, and I originally had Fit Finlay, like Pat Oates, but just to be a little bit different, I'm going to change that, and I'm going to go with Alexander Hammerstone.
Jake Rule, AJ Strangebird.
Double Jake Rule, AJ Strangebird's wife.
Now, Brian Davis has Yokozuna.
Yes.
Cactus Jack in a deathmatch tournament. Bruiser Brody one last time. Kamala and Umaga.
Interesting. They might have did something with him and Kamala once, but it'd be very rare. Yeah. I legit think I remember seeing that in a wrestling magazine, black and white, as a kid. That's why I think that. So
I can see it.
Give me some old school vibes here. But I got Steven Dash Brown. This is a guy now, Joe, who's actually been sending us quite a few lists here on that Dave and AJ account I have on Facebook. Yeah. One of my many accounts on Facebook. He's got
one of those accounts shut down now.
Anyone looking for
what you had to say about UFC?
Steven Dash Brown has Austin Theory, The Miz, Sammy Guevara, MJF, and it's almost like they just can't help themselves. There has to be at least one. Donald Trump.
All right. I mean, we're getting what we deserve with this list.
Yeah.
Joey Wiggins from the Booking the Territory Facebook group had New Jack, Sandman, Sabu.
New Jack City, baby.
And he believes Sabu happened at an event, but he was thinking Abby and Sabu like in their 30s. Both probably in their prime.
That line in New Jack City, I'm going to break off your $5 ass and make change or something like that.
I am not sure at this moment.
Okay. Shout out to Will
Hobbs. In the day, brother.
Ricky Starks and Will Hobbs. One of them said that in that feud. Yep. Mike Caldwell, always a friend of the show, done plenty of stuff for us. BCW Pro Wrestling. He's got John Moxley, Nick Gage, Sam Stackhouse, Funny Bone, and Cardona.
Okay.
I get it.
And any more lists?
Yeah, I got 3 more. So here we go. Zach St. John, who was Mrs. St. John's favorite baby boy, has excellent one. He was actually a fan of this. So thank you, Zach. John Moxley, Undertaker, Nick Gage, Vader, Brock Lesnar. It would be weird. Yeah. And then he said, great, now I'm going down Abdullah match hole watching his epic match with Zeus. LOL.
I'm surprised he went down an Abdullah
rabbit hole
with this, because I wouldn't have. I mean, I thought about it, and I tried thinking of his style, but I didn't watch any matches for inspiration. I'm not the hugest Abdullah fan. Like if he comes on, it's fine,
Yeah.
but he's
Well,
more of like a spectacle. Maybe him versus the Sheik.
yeah. Yeah. I've seen it. I mean, if you talk about a guy, he's one of those guys, though. He got the most out of doing the least.
He was the ultimate warrior of his time.
Yeah, sure.
I mean, kind of like that one note match.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, Jake St. John. There's another Nick Gage, Sabu, Raven, Minoru Suzuki, John Moxley. He had him ranked, and he said Nick Gage would be higher, but I fucking hate him. So there you go.
I mean, if we're looking at all these lists, Nick Gage, Moxley pops up a lot.
Oh, I had one more list.
Oh,
yeah, Mike Flynn. Mike Flynn had his list here.
Oh, we don't want to shut him out.
No. Jeff Hardy, someone may die. Darby Allin, someone may also die. John Moxley. Okay, so it's John Moxley, Nick Gage seems to be the two we're hearing the most. And then MJF, the dynamic would be fantastic. It's not a bad idea if you had a chicken shit heel trying to beg off against him. That could be an interesting matchup.
Yeah. Now, I'm just going to put it down to Moxley and Gage because we got so few responses and they were so varied.
Then in that case, I would just like to nominate Fit Finley, who I heard someone else say, as our third, because I think
Pat Oates had it.
Yeah, I would put Fit as our number 3 automatic just because I think that fucking brawl would be amazing.
Yeah, it would be, Abdullah coming out of the gate quick.
Yeah.
Fit just like not backing down.
Oh, yeah.
Almost the same match I think you would get with Moxley. With Gage, it would just go to weapons and bleeding and be more of a spectacle.
I'm just going to tell you right now, Moxley's my guy for this.
I would say Moxley too. I mean, I would say Fit, but like seeing that Moxley is doing it more modern, that would just be the reason I would pick him over it.
Yeah, bigger name too. No offense to Fit. Fit never had that big run in North America. Fit was obviously a big name in Europe and well respected here to the point that even Vince McMahon said he was one of his favorite wrestlers. And Fit did not have that style that you think Vince would like. But, Fit could definitely, when you look at, and I don't know if you've seen it, but that street fight or whatever he had with William Regal back in WCW days, like Finley was a guy that could just beat the shit out of people. So, he could make this perfect.
Yeah. So our last 5-3-1 for a little while, John Moxley is topping the top dream match for Abdullah.
We got one more coming.
We got one more. This is, and we're going to tell you what that is at the end. But Dave, I got some breaking news for you.
Oh yeah.
According to Sportskeeda, PWI has named at least their top 8 of the women's 150. We talked about this the other week. Of the top 8 people, there's 2 you're not going to get. So we'll just get those out of the way right now. Number 1, surprisingly, is Suri from Stardom. And number 7 is Saya Kimitani, also from Stardom. So that's 1 and 7.
Wow. This is the top 8 of the women wrestlers in the world.
Yep.
Wow.
Now, based on, I don't have the rundown, like the breakdown of when this covers, but who would you put as most likely number 2?
Yeah, that's tough because you don't know when it's ended. Because given a time period, you could have said Britt Baker would have been up there, or Thunder Rosa. And then WWE, you had Rousey was champ. Ugh. Number 2. Who's the women's champ right now on Raw? Am I drawing a blank?
I know Belair.
Oh, Belair. Yeah. I'll go Becky Lynch.
Becky Lynch is 4th.
Okay. How about Belair then?
Belair is 2nd.
Okay. All right. I was thinking maybe Becky had the belt still. So, okay.
Now, 3rd and 5th are not WWE talent.
So we're looking at either, I'm going to guess Thunder Rosa or Britt Baker.
Thunder Rosa is 3rd.
Yeah.
Britt Baker is not in the top 8.
Okay. Jordan Grace.
Jordan Grace is 6th.
Okay, and number 5 is not W talent. Okay, Mickey James.
No.
Deanna Peraza.
No, surprisingly.
Interesting. Oh, Camille.
Nope. Surprisingly also.
Fuck me. All right, not a WWE talent. And is it international?
Nope.
Huh. It's not Tyler Vacquer, right?
No.
Good. All right. Not jeez, but
Good.
there's other women I would have had higher just because they've done more this year. Okay, interesting. Not AEW talent either.
AEW.
Oh, okay. Oh, Jesus. Jade.
Yep.
Yeah, because of the record, how she's booked. Yeah, okay.
And then number 8.
Number 8. Is this a WWE talent?
Yeah, this is kind of surprising.
Okay.
It has to be like a yearly thing because I haven't seen her wrestle recently.
Okay. Fascinating. Charlotte?
Charlotte Flair is 8th.
Yeah, okay. That had to be like around the time she went down. Because I knew it wasn't we'd already covered Becky and Bianca. And obviously Sasha and Naomi were definitely gone around this time. So
Yeah. So that was interesting. That'll be, I believe, next month's magazine. And when that comes out, we will definitely cover it. It's been a busy week, guys. So we are a little underprepared, I'd say, today. Is there anything else in the wrestling world that has interested you? I know this weekend we got a GCW. There's a international bundle, I think, tonight. They'll be wrestling in the Junkyard in Mexico. There's a Freedom's 13th anniversary show this weekend. They've got their Hit 'em Up show in Los Angeles that Flip Gordon's going to be wrestling Blake Christian on. And then there's one more show I can't remember.
I think it's within 2 weeks, but NWA Hard Times is coming up too.
NWA Hard Times is, I believe, 3 weeks away because that's November 12th.
I'm looking up right now. NWA.
And if you guys mostly watch our wrestling stuff, we've been doing horror movies. We're almost to the end of the month with that. Got a big surprise for you on Halloween. We've been branching out, doing some more stuff with the channel, getting into the YouTube shorts. It's been an interesting piece of growth for us. You got the date on that?
Yep, NWA Hard Times is November 12th. It's when is Full Gear?
Full Gear is the weekend after that, so that'll be like
19th.
Yep.
Okay. So very good. All right. Yeah. So I think there's a UFC show this night too. Then, interesting card. Homicide, Kerry Morton, EC3, Thomas Latimer. There's a lot of like you feel like newer talent they're trying to like maybe get over with some of their established stars.
Yeah,
like
I haven't watched as much of the newest season. I believe it started with a Control Your Narrative invasion, but since it started, a lot of Control Your Narrative is left. And is Control Your Narrative still a thing? I know they canceled their tour.
EC3 is a part of this promotion, but like he's not. I'm not seeing anybody with him right now in the last TV tapings. But I will point out one match. 2 former guests of the show. AJ Kazana versus Jordan Clearwater for the vacant NWA World Television Championship.
Oh, wow. That's on Hard Times?
That's on Hard Times. Yep, that match got added because Tyrus is in the main event, so he vacated the TV title. So, yeah, Clearwater versus AJ Kazana, 2 former guests.
And 1 former guest of our show will once again be champion. We've had former champions on before. We've been sharing our stuff with Cage My IQ. We finally got a technical issue straightened out. So he's going to be getting a Brian Solomon interview, an interview we did a couple years ago with Ace Steel. It's about time to try and get him back. We're sending him John Arezzi as well. Check out Cage My IQ. We got a lot of stuff going on, trying to close out the year big. Dave, anything else we should say before we get out of here?
We're at 580 subscribers right now, folks. We are itching. Hopefully, in the next 6 months or so, we'll be at that 1,000 mark.
Yeah, and actually, before we leave, we forgot to tell them who the last 531 for a little while is going to be.
It's the power of the punch. The naughty one, William Regal.
That'll be interesting. I hope we get some responses for that. And guys, if you want to hear us do some more 531, send us some suggestions. If you have an idea for a segment you'd like to hear us do, let us know, because we're going to be brainstorming. But I mean, we do this to entertain you guys. So give us some feedback. Let us know what you'd want to see, what you'd want to hear. We will stay here each week bringing it to you.
All right, guys. Thanks for tuning in.
All right. Have a good week, guys. We will see you next week.